What are your thoughts about policy positions like a universal basic income? And how would the effects of that compare to a program that would guarantee everyone a job from the federal government? And like how which one's better, I suppose.
Well, it's hard to remember, but it was once a Democratic Party position that there should be a full employment act. The last gasp of that was 1978 when Humphrey Hawkins' bill was a full employment bill. Carter didn't veto it, but he watered it down so that it just became voluntary, toothless. And since then, Democrats have gone so far to the right that they've probably forgotten about it. But makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's claimed that unemployment is low, but that's mostly fakery. I mean, you're classified as employed if you work 1 hour a week. If you take a look at the job quality indices, do people have decent jobs and are they paid, below the average wage? The job quality index is going way down. People are maybe have a job technically, but it's 30 hours a week mopping the floor at McDonald's, and you can be canceled whenever the boss says we don't need you today and stuff like that. You're barely hanging on. But there's a way out of that. The government provided jobs, and they're desperately needed. I mean, U.S. infrastructure is totally collapsing. Don't have to give you examples. That's a lot of very good jobs. Private industry's not going to pay for them. Those should be government jobs. Same is true all the way up to high technology. Where do computers come from? Internet, whole high-tech industry. Public funding in the 50s, 60s, and 70s continues until today. The advanced tech is mostly, just like pharmaceuticals, mostly done at public expense. There's plenty of opportunities for the public through the government, the one institution that's theoretically responsive to the public, to develop the economy and provide full jobs. It's not done for ideological reasons. There's a mantra, starts with Reagan, that government is the problem, we got to get rid of government. The meaning of that mantra is we got to get rid of the population. The government is the one institution that's somewhat responsive to the public. Private corporations aren't. So you get rid of the government, move it to private capital, you're moving it to unaccountable private tyrannies. And nobody's supposed to say that, but it doesn't take a brilliant mind to see that that's what's happening. So yes, government-sponsored programs for decent jobs, which would also help the society. We'd be much better off with real infrastructure, with sustainable development, with solar energy, wind power, and so on. But that's going to require a government initiative. So that would be the obvious thing to do. What about the UBI? Depends very much on the context. So the UBI was supported by Milton Friedman, for example, the far right. But you have to look at his reasons. He wanted to do that so as to eliminate the entire welfare system. That's a catastrophe. I mean, there are people who need things over and above. We're not all identical. In right-wing libertarian ideology, we're all equal. We just enter the market, everything goes wonderfully. In the real world, it just doesn't happen to be like that. A mother with 3 kids, enters the market differently than Milton Friedman does. Needs special care, So if you eliminate the entire welfare system, it's a catastrophe for the part of the population that has, that isn't relatively privileged and wealthy. On the other hand, if you introduce the UBI as a kind of a floor, along with a decent social benefit system, it could make sense.